Now, 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100 or something like that, when I ask you to save a file for me, I want it in Photoshop document format. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go to the File menu. In fact, let me turn on my little mask there. Go to the File menu and then go down to Save. Now, we should probably do a Save As, because Save As essentially says I'm going to make a copy of the file that was originally done. So if I do a Save As, it will leave the original JPEG file alone, and now I can make a new file based on that. So by default, it starts you off with this format, Photoshop format. And when it's set to Photoshop, it's going to give you a 3-letter extension called .psd. And like I said a moment ago, typically this is what I want. Photoshop format allows you to make saves like layers over here. This is a thing we want. Okay, so I'll do a save with Photoshop document, and I'll put this on my desktop. Usually I'll put things on my desktop and I'll move them later. So I'll put that one there. Now if you get this window, this just says, do you want this to be backwards compatible with an older version of Photoshop? Yes, we do. In fact, don't bug me again on that. And now we've just saved it as a Photoshop document. Now, let's take this another step. Let's do another Save As. We'll try a different format. So let's see, we've got PSD. Now there's another one called TIFF. Now that stands for Tagged Image File Format. And this is great for when you're scanning. If you've scanned something using a scanner and it asks you which format do you want, using TIFF is great, because it works very much like a Photoshop document. It saves your layers, it saves your effects. This is a good thing. So we'll save it. We'll save one as a TIFF, .tif. I know it says TIFF there, but on the Mac we're used to seeing things with 3-letter extensions. So I'll do a save here. And then it asks me, how do I want to compress the file? So within the file, I typically do no compression, so that it saves everything. It doesn't reduce the file. And I'll talk about compression in a minute. And a lot of this stuff doesn't matter anymore in terms of whether you're using a Mac or a PC. So, I mean, I'll put Mac on here just because I'm on a Mac, but it really doesn't matter. So we'll click OK. Including layers will increase file size. That's totally okay. Okay, let's try another file format. Let's see, we've done PSD, we've done TIFF. Let's look at JPEG. Now, we originally started this file as a JPEG. Now, we've got a few JPEGs here. We've got JPEG, JPEG 2000, JPEG Stereo. I have no idea what these things do. It doesn't matter. We're just going to use JPEG. Now, we're getting into a weird area here, because what JPEG stands for is Joint Photographers Experiment Group. Okay? You don't even need to know that. If you know that, that's gravy, but it's not that important. All you need to know is that this is a really good format for compressing photographic images. Okay? Now notice what's happening here. Now it's baby elephant, and we're now back to JPEG. But if I leave it at this file name, it's going to replace the one on the desktop that I had there earlier. So I'm going to call this baby elephant pink. Okay? Now what's happening here is, I'm going to move this window over here just for a moment. So here's what's happening. We're now about to work with a compression scheme. And what that means is that here in Photoshop, the picture is as robust as possible. And notice that the file size is like 2 megabytes down here. That's cool, but often we want to send pictures over the internet faster, and we do that by compressing. I mean, think about, maybe rolling a ball of dough and you're compressing it into a ball. It's the same kind of a concept. Once it's in a smaller size, or in this case a smaller file size, less than 2 megabytes, it will go faster across the internet. It will be delivered faster, and that's very important. So I'm going to click on Save here, and then it asks you this important question. Now, I don't mess with this stuff down here. It doesn't matter. It asks you, how much compression do you want? Now take a look at what's happening here. There's a quality setting. Now, if I just need to send something off to a client that is not all that important, I might lower this down. Now, you'll notice that as I lowered this slider down, that the this word quality changed. Okay, it changed the number, but it also changed the actual description. Now, if I set this for maximum, it's actually not maximum. It's actually 10 out of 12. But so if it's not that important, I'll crank it down low. If I want to make sure that my client sees all the colors and everything, I'll crank it up. Now I'm going to crank this up all the way to 12. Now this took a moment, and look what happens here. Now this file size is only 322K versus what said 2 megabytes just a moment ago. Even at 1.55 megabytes, we're now basically 1/5 the size of the original pink elephant picture here. So we'll click OK, and there we saved it. Awesome. Now actually we made a copy there. We're still working with baby elephant TIFF. Okay, now we're going to go back here, try another save as. We've done TIFF, we've done JPEG. Let's see, what else have we got? There's GIF. Now GIF is not particularly good in this case. In fact, you know what? Let me do an example here of what would be better for GIF. And that is, let's go to a new document. I'll just make click a new document here, and I'm just going to draw a shape. Boom. Just a rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to do a save as, and I'll save this as a CompuServe GIF. Okay, a little history here. I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of AOL or America Online. Before there was America Online, there was CompuServe, and it needed a fast way to show pictures. And they came up with this format called GIF, G-I-F, Graphics Interchange Format. You may hear it as GIF. Personally, I don't like that pronunciation, but whatever. But anyway, to me, it's GIF. And what this is good for is for graphics. I mean, let me step out just for a minute. I mean, here we've got a very complex continuous tone image where you've got smooth transitions from, you know, light to dark and things of that nature. And JPEG compression is great for doing that kind of stuff. Okay? JPEG is not great for doing this kind of stuff, which is flat color type stuff, or pen-based shapes. Let me just grab something like this. Okay, I'll even change the color just because I can. Okay, so JPEG is not great for saving what this looks like. So we've got GIF. GIF is greater for doing flat colors like this. So we'll do save as again. We'll change it to CompuServe GIF. And we'll just call this shapes. I'm putting it on my desktop. CompuServe GIF, everything's great. Save. Flatten layers? Sure, why not? Now this will turn it into a picture kind of like a photograph, but it's handling the file size in a different way. Okay, so it says how many colors do you want? Now what this means is internal to the file, how many colors will it need? And that helps keep the file size down. Okay, we're just going to click OK. Great. Now notice the file size here. It says basically 500, half a megabyte is what that is. Now I'm going to hide Photoshop. Oh, it wants to know GIF options, normal or interlace. Just go with normal. Okay. And I'm going to hide this. Hide Photoshop. Hang on. There we go. And here's my shapes.gif. Let's see what file size it is. I'm going to check the file size by holding down Command Option, and so in Photoshop it was expanded. Here it's less than 1% size of that opened or expanded file size in Photoshop. So it is very, very small. Okay, let's go back to Photoshop. I'll show you that trick, how I got there another time. Okay, and for my last trick, do I have any more tricks? I've got 2 more tricks. One that I will demonstrate, one that I will not. Okay, let's go back to our elephant, and we will save as. And there's this guy over here, PNG, Portable Network Graphics. And this is a newer file format, so JPEG and GIF are actually quite old. PNG is a little bit newer. Okay, and this is another, you can kind of use this for both photographic images and GIFs. It works well in both cases. So baby elephant ping, that's great. Putting it on the desktop, and the format is ping for sure, good. Click on save. And how much compression do we want? Do we want to make this a fast compression, or do we want to make it slow so it takes a while to make the file as small as possible? And I'm all for making it a little bit smaller. This interlace versus non-interlace is not really a factor anymore, because interlacing has to do with television sets, and that isn't even much of a factor anymore. Okay, so we'll click OK. Boom, now it's saved as a ping. I'll go out to my desktop and take a look at it. There's ping right there. There's the PSD. There's the TIFF. Here's the original baby elephant. Here's the JPEG. Okay, now the last thing I'm just going to tell you about, I'm not even sure if I can show you. So let me go back to Photoshop here. Let's do a save as and go to, let's see if it's even in here. Okay, this one here, it says large document format. Well, you've noticed down here it says what file size it is. This is about 2 megabytes. Okay, basically your Photoshop document format will work fine for most size files. Once you start getting a file size up in the neighborhood of 2 gigabytes, maybe even 1 gigabyte and a half, once it gets into a large rate there, what they want you to do is they want you to use this format. Now, it says large document format, but what it really does is it's called PSB, and I'm pretty sure that means Photoshop Big. I don't know for certain. I'm just taking a guess on that one. And I've used this a few times, and what it does is it saves the file in a particular way so that Photoshop can handle a very, very large file. Okay? Chances are, even for our final movie poster project, you probably won't even need this, but at least you're aware that this is the format that you can use, large document format. Okay? During our class, I'll probably, as I said, 95 times out of 100, or roughly thereafter, I will ask you to give me Photoshop documents. But now at least you have an understanding of where you can change your formats, how you do it, and what the compression means for each one. So hopefully that helps. I'm not going to save this as a large document. I'm just going to cancel. See you at the next movie.